This week on ANN, the Seventh-day Adventist Church supports new proposed religious liberty legislation in the United States.
The president and CEO of Advent Health makes it into a very important list.
And the Adventist Church in New Zealand offers help after a deadly volcano.
These stories and more coming up.
Thank you so much for joining us this week.
First in the news, at a Capitol Hill press conference on December 6, U.S. Representative Chris Stewart from Utah announced the introduction of a proposed law called Fairness for All.
The legislation, which was introduced into the House of Representatives, aims to ensure that the free and open exercise of religion cannot be eroded, regardless of future political trends.
Seventh-day Adventist religious liberty advocates were among those who participated in the event to express their support.
The proposed bill comes after, in March 2019, the U.S. House of Representatives passed a piece of legislation called the Equality Act.
This new proposed legislation was significant because for the first time, a piece of federal legislation was voted by the House, substantially expanding civil protections for LGBT individuals, but without also including corresponding protections for religious organizations and people of faith.
Over the past few years, Seventh-day Adventist advocates from both the General Conference and North American Division have worked with other groups to draft a unique piece of federal legislation they believe provides a more balanced approach.
The Fairness for All Act, which was introduced into the U.S. House of Representatives on December 6, is a proposed law that rejects the polarized approach that has long dominated public discussion about these issues.
Fairness for All lays out strong protections for religious groups and individuals of faith. Religious organizations would continue to be able to hold internal policies and make hiring decisions that reflect their beliefs.
Further, they would not be punished by the government through loss of tax-exempt status or accreditation, for instance, for their beliefs about sexual orientation and gender identity. Nor could they be found to be engaging in discriminatory actions simply because of these beliefs.
In the general secular workforce, the religious beliefs of employees would be respected by employers unless this creates significant difficulty or expense for the employer.
For Adventists and other people of faith, this would also offer more robust protection for Sabbath accommodation than currently exists at the federal level.
At the same time, the legislation extends much-needed civil rights protections to LGBT individuals and acknowledges that they should never be subject to discrimination or harassment in secular employment, housing, or many other commonly protected areas, protections currently lacking in 29 states.
Fairness for All says, in essence, that there is a clear and principled way forward through this difficult cultural and legal landscape.
What Fairness for All doesn't do, however, is to signal a change in thinking on the part of the church regarding issues of sexual orientation or gender identity.
Indeed, if there was an intent to do so, there would be no need to seek to preserve the legal right to act on those beliefs and administer our schools and institutions accordingly.
The Adventist Church's beliefs on human sexuality are unequivocal and are clearly expressed in various statements and guidelines touching on marriage, sexual orientation, and gender identity, which you can find on Adventist.org.
In all these statements, there is a common thread of compassion and love, an affirmation that all people, regardless of their sexual orientation, are loved by God, and that Adventists will never condone singling out any group for scorn and derision, let alone abuse.
For more information on the Fairness for All legislation, please visit news.adventist.org.
Modern Healthcare magazine has named Advent Health President and CEO Terry Shaw one of 2019's 100 most influential people. This prestigious recognition program acknowledges and honors individuals who are deemed by their peers and the senior editors of Modern Healthcare to be the most influential individuals in the industry in terms of leadership and impact. In naming Shaw 84th on the list, Modern Healthcare noted his more than 3 decades with Advent Health, co-creation approach to developing critical strategies for the organization, incorporation of design thinking methodology to improve the consumer experience, and his advocacy for diversity and inclusion in the workplace. This marks Shaw's first appearance on the list, which features individuals from a range of sectors such as government, healthcare, and technology. Advent Health sent this report.
Terry Shaw, President CEO for Advent Health, a national faith-based healthcare organization comprising 50 hospitals across 9 states, was named one of 2019's 100 most influential people by Modern Healthcare. The only leader of an Adventist hospital on the list, Terry was honored among individuals like CMS Administrator Seema Verma, Amazon President CEO Jeff Bezos, and Apple CEO Tim Cook for being one of the healthcare industry's foremost leaders in terms of influence and impact. The recognition elevates Advent Health's position as a faith-based, consumer-focused clinical company and demonstrates a commitment to high-quality, innovative whole-person care, a commitment that's been evident throughout Terry's time as CEO.
Well, this recognition is important for 3 reasons. One, it's important for the mission of the organization. To extend the healing ministry of Christ is why we come to work every day. It's important for our brand because we believe Advent Health is uniquely positioned to make a strong impact in its communities. And it's nice to be included in a list of other high-quality caregivers and that Adventists have a place at that table. And of course, it's good for Terry. We're proud of our leader, and we're excited that he was recognized amongst the other health thought leaders in the country.
Modern Healthcare is the industry's leading source of news on business, policy, research, and information. Leaders selected for the 100 most influential list are nominated by peers and selected by senior editors of the magazine. I'm Garrett Caldwell, reporting for Adventist News Network.
The president of the Seventh-day Adventist Church in North New Zealand has released a heartfelt message in response to a deadly volcano eruption on White Island. 5 persons are confirmed dead, and the number of fatalities is expected to rise after the volcano exploded off the northern coast of New Zealand. North New Zealand Conference President Ben Timothy said, "Our hearts go out to the victims and families affected by the volcanic eruption on Wakari, White Island on December 9, 2019. As the Seventh-day Adventist Church in North New Zealand, we express our sympathy to the families and friends here and abroad who have lost loved ones on White Island. We pray for God to comfort those affected by this tragedy." Timothy confirmed that local pastor Paul Junker will have the Wakatane Adventist Church open for prayers and service on Saturday. The Adventist Development and Relief Agency, or ADRA, has announced the appointment of Annette Ann Gibson as Vice President for Finance. Gibson's role was effective December 4. Gibson steps into the position previously held by Michael Kruger, who now serves as President of ADRA.
ADRA Board Chair and General Vice President of the Seventh-day Adventist Church, Ella Simmons, says, "Ann is a widely respected leader, and we're pleased to welcome her to ADRA as our newest executive team member. She has extensive experience with ADRA and across various business and finance sectors. Her extraordinary commitment to stewardship and financial expertise, coupled with a forward-thinking approach, makes her an ideal person for this important leadership role and will certainly benefit ADRA as the network continues to serve the global community."
Prior to joining ADRA, Gibson was employed at the General Conference of Seventh-day Adventists as the assistant to the treasurer and has served on ADRA's board since 2005.
She previously held considerable financial positions as Dean of the School of Business at Andrews University and Chair of the Department of Accounting, Economics, and Finance, also at Andrews. For more information, visit adra.org.
Coming up, young people in East Russia find a creative way to reach out to others.
But up next, Jamaica's National Security Minister commends Northern Caribbean University for their work with at-risk young people.
We may look, pray, read, think, worship, sing, and share differently, but we all look forward to the Sabbath. And we all look forward to the future when Jesus will come again. With this message in mind, we arrived at a core component for a new identity system, the creation grid, a simple 7-column structure for layout. The grid is a reference both to the prophetic timeline as well as to the creation week that culminated in the 7th-day Sabbath. The first 6 columns of the grid belong to the designer. It can be filled with anything: text, images, illustrations, patterns, and logos. But the 7th column, the Sabbath column, does not belong to them. It is meant to be different and special. Regardless of what or where you are designing, you can always find information to help you communicate that we are all Seventh-day Adventists.
Jamaica's National Security Minister Horace Chang has commended Seventh-day Adventists operated Northern Caribbean University for providing at-risk youth the opportunity to pursue tertiary education through its rescue program.
Launched 3 years ago, the program, Restoring Every Student's Confidence Using Education, has spent more than $800,000 to assist 75 students, including former gang members, scammers, sexually abused girls, and orphans.
Addressing a recent conference on religion and crime prevention at the university, Chang described the rescue program as outstanding and deserving of the collaboration and support of the Ministry of National Security in resolving some of the societal issues impacting crime.
He noted that the government was in the process of reformulating the way in which ministries, departments, and agencies carry out social intervention activities in the communities.
The National Security Minister called on faith-based organizations to recognize their value and potential in being agents of change, able to prevent and suppress criminal behavior.
In his remarks to the conference, which was organized by the School of Religion and Theology, NCU President Lincoln Edwards said that the institution has appealed to churches and other civic organizations to identify at-risk youth and to send them, along with funding, to the institution.
The president said that as a faith-based organization, NCU believes that the church has a major role to play in finding solutions to the all-encompassing dilemma of crime. As such, the Conference on Crime Prevention was planned with possible solutions in mind.
Edwards pointed out that NCU has an excellent criminal justice program through which the institution has provided training to members of the security forces in critical areas of duty.
In addition, he pointed to the university's community restorative justice program as a key element in assisting communities and the police in dispute resolution, among other services.
He added that in cases of trauma occurring in the security forces, NCU counselors are dispatched to provide care to colleagues and families of affected workers.
In East Russia, the Seventh-day Adventist Church has developed an interesting project called Ladder.
The project started when the young people decided to make a creative space for young people to develop their talents and spend time together.
The East Russian Union Conference sent this report.
Мы хотим представить интересный проект «Лестница», который развивается на базе общины номер 3 города Новосибирска. Начало этого проекта приходится на октябрь-ноябрь 2017 года, когда молодежная команда «Один год служения» решила создать молодежное пространство для творческого развития и роста талантов у молодежи города Новосибирска. Была отремонтирована комната в стиле дизайна лофт, и сюда начали стекаться многие молодежные инициативные группы со своими проектами. Это и творческие вечера, и любители сказок, и квартирники, и любители настольных игр, и проект «Капельки добра». Молодежь города полюбила это место, но особое сотрудничество у общины начало разворачиваться с проектом «Капельки добра» и его координатором Ольгой Сергеевной Лялиной, которая работает на добровольных началах, организуя мероприятия и оказывая социальную и психологическую поддержку детям на инвалидности и их родителям, а также семьям в сложной жизненной ситуации. Проект «Капельки добра» развивает свое служение на территории Новосибирска и Новосибирской области и старается оказать поддержку около 1000 семьям. Волны милосердия этого проекта идут все дальше и дальше и вбирают в себя такие города, как Тюмень, Красноярск, Камень-на-Оби и многие другие. Постепенно молодежное пространство «Лестница» превратилось в так называемое свободное пространство. В молодежную комнату приходят люди всех возрастов и всех занятий. Сфера служения проекта «Лестница» развилась и распространяется на многие возрастные и социальные категории людей. Одним из наиболее интересных направлений в этом служении является празднование дней рождения детей с ограниченными возможностями. Они приходят в комнату «Лестница» со своими мамами и друзьями и отмечают свой праздник. Также мы собираем мам детей, пока детки в школе или детском саду, чтобы поиграть в настольные игры, посмотреть мотивирующие фильмы и обсудить их. Так как отдохнувшая мама – это очень важно, и дети через это эмоционально связываются со своими родителями. Оля, вот общаясь с тобою, я вижу, насколько ваш этот проект уникален. Но очень интересно, вот, чтобы мы услышали, расскажи, как вообще этот проект возник, как он развивался, и как, когда и для чего все это было запущено.
Наши первые проекты были осуществлены в 2015 году. Самая главная их цель – это социализация семей, потому что ранее они жили в цикличном кругу, это реабилитация, дом, и это было бесконечно.
Оль, ну вот расскажи, а что побуждает тебя служить этим детям и их семьям? Это же так сложно, так трудно работать, служить и общаться с детьми, которые имеют такие ограниченные возможности. Они инвалиды. Какой мотив твоих действий? Почему ты все это делаешь безвозмездно? Что побуждает тебя искренне и безвозмездно служить этим семьям?
Я считаю, что добро должно быть именно безвозмездным, потому что если оно делается за какое-либо вознаграждение, это уже не добро, а просто работа. Если я могу сделать, то почему бы не сделать?
Расскажи, пожалуйста, как ты пришла к вере? Почему ты стала адвентисткой седьмого дня? И что побудило тебя принять водное крещение?
Я пришла как раз через проект «Лестница». Меня сюда вели все дороги. Я даже не подозревала, что общаюсь с людьми, которые из адвентистской общины. Было много путей, но я их упорно не замечала. Но когда я оказалась здесь, меня поразило то, что люди готовы делать бескорыстное добро. Они дарят друг другу любовь и заботу, и всегда готовы помочь в трудную минуту, и, что самое важное, честно.
Какова стратегия развития вашего проекта? Что вы собираетесь делать в будущем?
На данный момент у нас более 100 развитых проектов, которые охватывают всестороннюю социализацию семей. В будущем мы хотим больше их развивать, чтобы масштабы помощи были больше. Бог совершает великое через проект «Лестница» и капельки добра. Постепенно маленький ручеек добра превращается в океан тепла, любви и заботы, потому что служащий одному человеку служит и спасает весь мир. Да благословит Бог наши проекты.
Coming up, Victoria Turrentine is here for this week's social media highlights.
But up next, Adventist Mission has a story of a man whose father led him to God in Papua New Guinea.
Do you have sitting disease?
I don't know.
Do you sit all day?
Yes.
Are you known to your friends as a sit-aholic?
Yes.
Do you sit all day at work, then get home and sit even more?
I do.
Data from the National Health and Nutrition Examination shows that more than half of people sit at least 6 hours a day. This sitting time has been linked to metabolic syndrome, type 2 diabetes, cardiovascular disease, and a whole slew of other problems. If you've been sitting for more than an hour, you've been sitting too long.
We've got to get up.
By cutting your sitting time in half, you can increase your life expectancy by up to 2 years. Find ways you can stand more during your day. Pace when walking on your phone. Have walk and talk meetings. Set an alarm to remind you to walk every hour. Stand up and start living longer today.
Welcome back.
For years, Croniel and his friends had been devil worshippers, but he soon became dissatisfied.
His father told him about God, and soon he found he was talking to God in his mind.
Adventist Mission has more.
2 days before my wife gave birth, she had a dream. In the dream, a wild boar ate our baby's hands and a foot. When my son was born without both his hands and the foot, I realized the devil was attacking me for leaving him. For years, my friends and I had been devil worshippers. We would go to the cemetery to dig up graves for our cult sessions. Anything I asked the devil, he would give me. I remember one time, I asked him for a large sum of money. When I got the money, it was spent very quickly. In fact, every gift that came from the devil would not last long. I became dissatisfied and began asking questions about him. My father told me that the devil is a created being, and like us, had a beginning. He also said that he could not read our thoughts, only God can. So I started talking to God in my mind. One morning I woke up and felt the desire to kneel for prayer. I did not want to show the devil what I was doing, so I stayed in bed. During the prayer, I felt embarrassed for my weakness. So I got up, took my machete, and went deep into the woods. I cleared a circle and knelt down. As I prayed, I sensed a dark presence and was afraid. But I kept pouring out my heart to God, and I felt peaceful and happy. I told God I would always come there to meet him. Later, I asked my father for a Bible. He gave it to me, along with The Great Controversy by Ellen White. He told me to read the chapter called The Snares of the Devil. Soon, I decided to give my life completely to Christ and become a pastor. It was then that the devil attacked me through my newborn. The devil could not keep me from devoting my life to Christ, and despite the many challenges and disturbances, my family and I arrived at Omara School of Ministry in Papua New Guinea. Here in Omara, my life changed a lot in a big way. Whatever my family needs, the Lord provides. I am not afraid and uncertain as before. I know the Lord is with me. I still face challenges, but the challenges do not discourage or deviate me from God. They guide me towards Him. That's the kind of positive feeling I have here in Omara, and I thank God for Adventist education and literature. One of my favorite subjects is Bible discoveries. It deepens my understanding of the Word of God. I also love the books of Daniel and Revelation because I want to know what God is telling us about the future. The fellowship here is really special. I can mingle with students from all parts of the country. I interact with active pastors in the field. This helps shape my ministry. My plan for the future is to go back home to tell the young men who were digging up graves and worshiping the devil that there is a better way. There is a God who can change them as He changed me.
Watch this and other mission stories online by visiting AdventistMission.org. Then click on videos at the top.
For some of us growing up, that little sign, now known as a hashtag, was a pound sign, meant to signify numbers.
Today, Victoria Turntine will discuss the importance of hashtags and how to use them to expand your brand and find information.
Hashtags are very important when you associate them with your social media pages. A hashtag is information that describes a person's thought, feeling, and brand on social media networks, allowing users to generate tagging, which makes it possible for others to easily find messages and/or posts with a certain theme or content. Are you trying to expand your business brand or start a prayer group? Well, setting a hashtag could cause you to reach your target audience and help members filter information. Social media users can also find and connect with you by using your hashtags. Whenever you put a hashtag with a post, the social media network will collect that information and make it searchable for new users, followers, and strangers. And the best part is, you can use multiple hashtags in one post. Anytime you search a hashtag, many groups will pop up, and you can decide which group you want to search or follow. Share your hashtags by tagging us at Seventh-day Adventist Church. We want to see what creative hashtags our followers are using. Stay blessed and stay safe.
And finally, for today's episode, let's turn to Ashley Chisholm for a look at Adventist history.
This week, we hear the story and impact of Marion and Griffith Jones.
Welcome to This Week in Adventist History. On December 9, 1919, Marion Jones left the Wawunga Sanitarium for Tasmania to, quote, obtain the benefit of that bracing climate while recuperating her health. Marion Valentine had been born in England in 1860 to Scottish parents. She was schooled in England and in 1886, at the age of 26, married Griffith F. Jones, a Welsh sea captain. The couple became Seventh-day Adventists in the early 1890s and were both baptized in 1893, Griffith in Belfast, Ireland by O.O. Farnsworth, and Marion in London, England by D.A. Robinson. The pair immediately threw themselves into evangelistic work. As Griffith wrote, he, quote, canvassed the large cities of England and Ireland, as Marion did Bible work in London. Together, they studied with Doctors Daniel and Loretta Kress as they established the Adventist Church's first health institution in England. And then they traveled to the U.S. state of Texas, where they studied at Keene Academy, a forerunner of today's Southwestern Adventist University, graduating in the year 1900. From there, they traveled to the Society Islands, where, as one writer put it, quote, they commenced their long and fruitful foreign mission service. From the Society Islands, they sailed to and served in Singapore, Java, Sumatra, Borneo, and the Malay states. When World War I broke out in 1914, the Jones had begun work in the Western Solomon Islands. They labored there and in several other places in the South Seas. After they officially retired, they spent time assisting in city mission work in London, England, in Algiers, Gibraltar, Spain, and South Africa. From 1935 until Marion's final illness in 1939, the Joneses lived and labored on Lord Howe Island. Marion died on January 2, 1939, and Griffith on September 14, 1940, at Sydney Sanitarium. The Jones had visited and lived in at least 38 different countries and worked for and with people who spoke at least 34 different languages, leaving behind a legacy of thoughtful and dedicated work in many corners of the globe. Their story comes from this week in Adventist History.
Thanks for watching A&N. Join us next week for more news from the headquarters of the Seventh-day Adventist Church.
We'd love to hear from you. Send us your feedback and tell us how your church is making a difference in its community.
Be sure to capture plenty of video footage and photos, then write up a summary of the event's important details. And feel free to send full video reports as well.
You can reach us by sending an email to annvideo11@gmail.com.
Before we say goodbye, here's some good news from the book of 1 John chapter 4, verse 9.
The passage says, God's love was revealed among us in this way. God sent his one and only Son into the world so that we might live through him.
That's our program for this week. And remember, you can always visit news.adventist.org for daily news and videos. Until next time, God bless.
Take care.